BALTIC Brand Talks, podcast about all things creative and trending.
Hello everyone, BALTIC Brand Talks is finally back up after a longer spring break, and I'm not alone. My name is Andris, I'm CEO of Magic. I have two fantastic partners to discuss with.
Yeah, nice to be back, and hopefully this is going to be another interesting and insightful episode from us.
Yeah, and the shy person across me is Rihards, our strategy director. And we have a new friend in the podcast.
Yeah, a new face in the podcast. My name is Aigars. I'm also a strategist at Wit Consulting and Magic Agency. Glad to join you guys here.
Yeah, and welcome. We needed some fresh blood, and we got it. And so today we want to kind of look back what has happened recently, what grabbed our attention. And of course, there's one festival in advertising world that you can't escape. And no, it's not Super Bowl. That happened some time ago. That's, of course, Cannes Lions, but that collects some of the most amazing work and talent and experts globally in one place in Cannes, beautiful city of Cannes in France. And this year was no exception. And so idea is to basically see what was our favorite work. I can say that our festival season in Latvia and Baltics also this year started pretty well. I think it's historically for the first time that we have won 2 Grand Prix awards in 2 different festivals. So we won one was AdWords, which is our Latvia Creative Excellence Festival. The other was Latvian Design Award, Annual Design Awards. So it was really unexpected, but also a proud moment to our team to receive Grand Prix for Dod Pieci, Give Me 5 charity marathon campaign, where we basically, for the first time, I think, crocheted the whole campaign. In Latvian, we say tamburet. I hope the crocheting is the right word in English, but it's a kind of it's an old, ancient craft that we are happy to still have some people to know how to use it. So anyway, but now we are. Let's check the biggest global stage in Cannes. And Aigars, I know you have collected a couple of fun facts about this year's festival and a couple of trends.
Yeah, I believe everybody who listens to are now well familiar with the Cannes Lions, but it was International Creativity Festival. It's actually happening for the 72nd year in a row, where we choose best campaigns globally. And before we move talking about our favorite campaigns, I prepared some random facts. There is no logic behind them, just something that caught my attention because I believe your LinkedIn feed and newsletter, same as mine, was full with Cannes Lions for the last 2 weeks only. So few random facts from me. And something I didn't know, that we don't just choose the best advertising and the best agency, we also choose the most creative country of the year, which this year was actually Brazil. And the way how they select this country is not actually based on the amount of awards or lions they get, but they kind of prepare the country themselves. They judge how creative this country is, how the country governments sponsor and invest in creativity, how country talents participate and contribute to Cannes Lions themselves. So I believe it's a shift from maybe these major countries like USA, UK, Germany, that now this award also went to Brazil. In general, this year, Cannes Lions was celebrating a lot of smaller markets that we maybe not used to see in these international big festivals, which I believe also gives a little inspiration for us in the Baltics, that we also can have this opportunity to be more present in Cannes Lions.
I think Czech Republic got some of the gold or even Grand Prix awards. What were other smaller countries?
I know India. It's not a small country, but the small regarding to advertising. But they also got the first Grand Prix ever in the country's history. So I guess that shows that creativity is universal, and everybody everywhere, and everybody can come up with great innovative ideas that can change how we live and so on.
Yeah, and also some of the winners prove that sometimes you don't need this huge budget to create a real creative work. Sometimes it's even like less than $30. One of the campaign that won the budget was less than €30, but maybe we're going to talk about it more when we're going to talk about our favorite campaigns. But coming back to agency side, actually our ex-group agency DDB got a Global Network of the Year with the total of 112 clients. Maybe we're going to talk about some of their campaigns as well, but I believe that's good news again.
Yeah,
and
congrats.
The agency that actually contributed quite a lot to this Global Network Award is NordDDB, that again, almost like our neighbors here. So yeah, I think that's maybe we can congratulate our partners and well done. Also, some of the topics that were present in this year Cannes Lions is obviously artificial intelligence. I believe no one is quite surprised to hear about it. But what I think is interesting, when I've been researching these ads that got an award, I haven't seen many of them that was made with artificial intelligence as it was last year when many campaigns were designed or edited using artificial intelligence. My take on this is that artificial intelligence is still present, but if last year it was the main character, then this year it's someone who works backstage. Maybe we use it for research, maybe we use it to gather more data or analyze this data, but we don't use it to come up with a final visual. We create it in different ways.
That also reflects the overall trend, I guess, regarding AI, that 3 years ago, we were talking about how it's going to change, replace, and then otherwise like exclude people from everything. Then now we are now getting to know it and seeing that it's only a tool that those who are more experienced and more hands-on that could use to just facilitate their job and make it better, make it more interesting, or find more insights that are more unpredictable or somewhere deeper down.
Yeah, I believe also one of the ideas in this year Cannes Lions was that AI is not here to steal our job, it's here as our partner, but creativity is still humanity. Humanity is the source of creativity. But one more topic that caught my attention, and is actually something that we talked recently a lot with you as well, and we also talk about it in our newsletter, What's Trending, is this creators economy. There's a lot of talks regarding creators, the role of creators in advertising. YouTube had their own huge stage. They invited many creators there. And one person from TikTok said that creator content is crucial in a world where half of the people are saying that they don't like ads. So creator is basically something that we can use, we can collaborate with, we can reach their communities, and instead of making people watching just the regular ads. And it's actually also related to the first campaign I want to talk you about, so maybe we can also move to this part where we share.
One thing I want to add, in this year's Cannes Lions, there was interesting research came out and was present in there from System 1 and together with APA and other huge data sources, where also they mentioned that creators as a channel, as a touch point, is super crucial and important to build long-term relationships with brands, because they are the ones who can give real emotions and be closer to customers than just a standalone brand, and build those lasting memories. So also a thing that comes together. Okay, Aigars, let's jump into campaigns, the most interesting part of this podcast.
Let's talk about campaigns. So
who wants to start? Like, I think we also have two kind of like our favorites, but then also we have several other examples that kind of match to the topic.
Aigars wanted to start. Let's
I
give
can
him
start
the floor.
since we already started with this topic of creators, and I on purpose chose the campaign that used creators as a central element of their campaign. It's actually from Vaseline. It's called Verified, created by Ogilvy Singapore, and I will read you. Campaign won in total of 9 Lions, Titanium Lion, Grand Prix in Social and Creator, Health and Wellness, 1 Gold, 4 Silver, 1 Bronze, and 6 shortlist. So quite a bunch of awards that this campaign gathered with the help of creators. But basically the story behind this campaign is that they realized that online, and especially in TikTok, there is a lot of life hacks using Vaseline product, and this hashtag Vaseline hack has more than 3 million videos on TikTok. I will give you some examples. They're getting crazier and crazier when you dig deeper, but basically, if you know you can use Vaseline on your dog nose to make it less dry. I know that Andris might be interested in this fact as a big dog lover.
Good to know.
You also can use Vaseline to whiten your teeth, but I'm not sure that this fact was actually verified. And you also can use it on your lips when you're eating a spicy food, so your lips doesn't burn and you don't feel the spice of this food. And that's just the top of the iceberg. It's getting more and more and more. But the issue is that sometimes these hacks are getting too much, they're getting crazier, they're getting weird, and sometimes they not just don't work, they also can hurt you. For example, as one creator suggests on TikTok that you can eat the whole jar of Vaseline, that it's not actually safe. So basically what Vaseline did, they verified these hacks together with the scientists, they tested them in the lab, and they verified hacks that work, and they unverified hacks that doesn't work. They send the creators from these facts that work a jar of Vaseline and this verification node, and it basically was 450 different creators that received this verification, and that's pretty much it. Of course, creators use this opportunity to talk more. It's generated even more content. And what I personally like about this campaign is how they find this creative way of using user-generated content to come up with the whole campaign. How, with the help of this campaign, they created even more user-generated content, and how they tapped into this internet hack culture. And how brand can show that they listen and they engage with their community. I will share some results with you as well. They were quite good. They actually increased sales by 33% just in 1 month. The campaign has 87% positive sentiment and 60 million social interactions on different social platforms. And actually the mentioning of Vaseline grow more than 1,000%. So the results, both business and marketing results, were on point for this campaign as well. So any comments or something that surprised you about this entry?
No, I think it's a great example of you can really decentralize creativity. Like, of course, we as an agency, we usually love to, come up with concept and then create content and control the whole thing. But this is, again, a great way of looking at it, that we still kind of curate it and we still, kind of control parts of it. But most of the, creative process is basically outsourced to those creators, which of course are talented and very different. And of course, if you have 450 creators or you have only one team, there is a good chance that those 450 creators can reach even more people with their very diverse approaches and talent. But yeah, I mean, it is also a bit similar to what Apple is doing with the Shot on iPhone platform. And also they in these cans they receive Grand Prix on creative effectiveness, but they also basically already since 10 years they are inviting people and creators to share their videos using different features on iPhone. And also in recent year they had this the whole series of people featuring a very specific thing. I think it was this 14th liter scanner. I don't know exactly how it works, but basically, and they created a lot of content with the dogs, the pets, and of course, if I see a dog in ad, that's something that I can't be indifferent.
Understand the dogs.
Yes, and of course very emotional short films about the different these also injured dogs that are brought back to kind of life, back to movement, and then how they can enjoy life. And then using these iPhone features, basically they both share a very emotional story about these dogs that are brought back to health, but also, of course, that clearly shows the opportunity what your new iPhone has. So I think it's when it comes back to Vaseline case, it's about engaging with
Giving
people,
floor,
giving stage to people, but doing this also, of course, having the product in a very center of the whole thing, which I think
for me, similar campaign is also that tracking Bad Bunny, which is a campaign from Puerto Rico and one of their most famous musicians as a response to US and their political narrative about the country. So also they were engaging people to find places that Bad Bunny is singing about, and in this way then see the country and get to know how beautiful, how interesting, how different Puerto Rico as a place is. So also something that is around user-generated content, or around trying to find places in digital, in this case in digital maps, and be interactive all the way the campaign is built. So
yeah, and I believe to wrap up this part of our podcast, we also can say that we're definitely going to hear more about creators this year and probably also next years, about user-generated content, about employee-generated content, as well as something that we do now as well. I believe this can be called this employee-generated content. But that's not exactly new theme in marketing, but it's definitely a new angle how to look in our collaboration with the content creators, that maybe we just don't use this paid sponsorship or they give them money to promote our product, but we find more creative, interesting ways how to collaborate with them.
Sure. I can continue my campaign. My favorite campaign from this year's Cannes is similar. It also is a way how can we interact with our customers and with our users in this case, and it is a campaign from Indian Railways called the Lucky Yatra, and in India, I guess we can imagine that there is a lot of people daily using trains, and I guess everybody of us had the picture in our head, full train, over capacity, and people still
safe.
Trying to make place on it. But the reality is that they found that there is 41% of people using public transport and train is not paying for their tickets. So a lot of people who are trying to just get the free rides and don't pay for that. And it costs annually around $820 million to the railway company. So what they did, they found that there is one huge obsession in India, and people are as crazy buying lottery tickets. And with the small twist in their product, basically no twist in their product, just communication, they communicated that each ticket you buy is already valid lottery ticket for a big train, in this case train ticket lottery, and they matched the daily and weekly prize money for their biggest competitor in lottery field in India, and boosted their ticket sales by the ticket sales went up by 34%. They managed to increase 658 million in train ticket sales. From that money they spend 1.4 million in prices, but total ROI was pretty huge, almost $500 million they made, which then were invested back in railway system. So interesting way how to tackle a problem, how to tackle a challenge, and also flip the narrative. Instead of trying to somehow penalize those who are not paying, we are trying to reward those who are honest and are fans and are already willing to pay for the tickets. So a small twist in product, a small twist in how we see our product could be an interesting way how to
in a way,
deal with the challenge.
Good old lottery mechanism, right? We know it since I think advertising was born. The good prize, is it money, is it car, is it travel, kind of still works. But I think what is very unexpected is that you just need to buy a train ticket. It's not you don't have to do much else. I think the twist is that before it was kind of unlucky lottery. Somebody if you don't buy a ticket
Could
but
be
you
caught,
still
yeah.
drive, you kind of participate in lottery, but the only prize is the penalty prize, so in this case you really turn from negative to positive. Just like I think many years ago, NordDB Stockholm, they had this fun theory campaign where part of the series they organized this speed ticket lottery. So everybody who was speeding lower than it is allowed, they were participating in lottery, and the prize money came from those who were kind of
going over
the allowed speed, and they were the ones who were paying prizes. So again, they added fun element and game element to a safety issue and received a lot of attention and good results as well.
Yeah, and also a similar case, and this year's kindness come also from IKEA. IKEA in Portugal, they come up with, they found that there is also a challenge. The people don't see their furniture as so durable and with high quality. So what they found that on each of furnitures or products that are sold in IKEA, they have those stickers on it, and on those stickers, you can find a year and a month when the product was made. So they build a huge also hunt for the oldest IKEA furniture in Portugal, and in the end they even found sets that are older than the IKEA is in Portugal. So also interesting way how to look at what already you have. You have already different kind of things that there is for on it, and how can we play around them and find some interesting ways how to just spotlight or highlight the new things in our products.
I like the idea that instead of punishing people or try to control them even more, we try to motivate them, and I believe the results prove that it's also a more effective way of reaching your goal of ticket sales or car speeding accidents, and I think
kind
it's
of
great.
nudging. Nice way of nudging. Like good old example, I think it was an experiment in Netherlands where they added this small fly picture of fly in this urinals or pissoir, as we say in Latvian, in men's toilet, and it proved to be the most effective way to make people pee in the right
and now
place.
I believe this fly or this target is in every urinal
standard,
where you go. It's become a standard.
All right,
Andris?
shall I share first my first favorite?
Go on.
And I couldn't resist to share the work that is very, I think, untraditional for the advertising festival, because it's the Paris Olympic Games opening ceremony, which won Grand Prix award in the outdoor category. And of course, we've seen different very creative outdoors and installations and even outdoor events or stunts. But I think Paris Olympic Games is something that we don't need to explain what it was. I think we were excited and surprised, and of course, some people hated it, some people loved it, but it created such an energy and such a discussion. And so amazing to see this work part of Cannes Lions Festival as well. So what they did basically, they wanted to still kind of be authentic and talk about Paris, not only talk about Paris and France, but actually really put it in a very center. So it was for the first time ever that Olympic Games opening ceremony happened not in stadium, but as we saw it all in throughout the city, which was already fantastic breakthrough and innovation, which came from this artistic director, creative director Thomas Joly, who I think is really big part of the whole success story. But then also they actually Paris is the place where this universal, it's a city where Universal Declaration of Human Rights was adopted and was created. So they really put also these kind of human rights and racial equality and women's freedoms and LGBTQ rights. So all of those inclusion topics, which Trump is not a big fan of, but Paris really kind of put those kind of values, democratic and inclusivity values in their center. And so it was a fantastic show. It was, very interesting to see how city interacts with the, some of the biggest brands, some of the top talent. And I think that was definitely an experience in itself. And so they actually collaborated with several agencies from Ogilvy and others. So it was, of course, truly collaborative project with different partners very involved. And I guess reaching over 2 billion viewers on the night is also quite a stat that every case study can be
jealous of.
Can be jealous or can hope to win something big, and this was of course not exception. And as Thomas Joly, the creative director or artistic director of the Olympic Games ceremony, said himself that everything is new here. I don't have a model to work from. It's creation in the extreme. And I think this is, again, the great reminder that if you really want to, stand out and be discussed and or receive Grand Prix, you have to do something very different from anybody else. And that's threatening, that's risky, that's you probably don't know how it will end, but definitely worth to pursue.
I actually have a lot to say about this entry. I've been following it super closely. I have a lot of opinions. I'm just going to share some of it. First of all, I will be honest, I was quite surprised to see it in this outdoor category because it's definitely not something we used to see in this category. Because, for example, I'm not sure if it's right to call it second place, but the gold award, I believe, went to KitKat for very classic, very traditional digital outdoor advertising with people holding their KitKat as their phone, like very traditional outdoor advertising. I'm not sure, I haven't seen it myself, but I believe some people were mad probably for this entry getting an award in this outdoor category, but the campaign itself is amazing, even if it can be controversial if it's an ad or not really. The campaign itself is amazing. I love how they took this insight or this observation that our world is getting sometimes maybe in a wrong direction with the Trump you already mentioned, with this right swing, etc., and they decided to show their position that slightly controversial, maybe something that people weren't expecting from the Olympic Games. And if you remember, there was a drama about it. I believe they even needed to apologize or change something.
In a way, they apologized to Christian world that it was definitely not meant as a kind of laugh about something which is very secret, like this sacred dinner.
Yeah.
But of course, it again, if you have great intentions, and they definitely had good intentions here, then it can still work well.
And I believe the message was quite clear because Olympic Games, why they originally were created, what they stand for is the peace, but they also adding that we are also for this diversity and inclusivity.
Yeah.
And I think that's if we talk about brands and rebranding and strategy change, I would say that for Olympic Games, that's a good switch into the direction to stand not just for peace, but for diversity and inclusivity and
I mean, I also I can quote the Outdoor Alliance jury president, Keka Morelle, Chief Creative Officer of LATAM, Ogilvy, and she said, it's bold, it's unforgettable, it's a clear reminder of the limitless power of outdoor. And this works redefines public space as a platform not just for visibility, but for meaning, where brand values meet cultural relevance. And this is cultural relevance is a great kind of bridge to have a very short advertising break, because in this September 26, we will have our annual Pan-Baltic Baltic Brand Forum. So probably the biggest celebration of Baltic and European marketing and global marketing. And actually the topic for this year we have chosen is cultural relevance. So we will hear the stories from different local and global brands about how they match, culture, how they build brands that are more relevant, more resonating than maybe their competitors. So I think it's a fantastic topic also to kind of dig deeper and see what we have also from the Baltic brands who are maybe who have used this cultural relevance in great way. And yeah, so everybody, balticbrands.eu is a website. You can check out the dates, the headliners, and the first speakers are announced. Of course, the program will be kind of added with different other experts and performers. But I really hope that we see a lot of you, our listeners, in September in Vilnius.
I believe that also some of our speakers for Baltic Brand Forum won an award or two also at Cannes Lions Festival this year.
Definitely. We'll have guests from IKEA, from Heineken, from Diesel, from Heinz, and all of those are brands that are kind of constantly winning advertising awards. And not just because they love awards, because of really effective work. And yeah, that's perfectly true.
Okay, maybe let's jump back to Olympics.
But
there was a lot of other campaigns that used this big event, this super popular and event that everybody is trying to follow and see. My favorite one was from McDonald's. As I am a huge fan of basketball, I couldn't resist to share this.
I thought you were gonna say that you're a huge fan of McDonald's
as well, but in this case, it's more about basketball. In Olympics, one of the biggest events is basketball finals, and last year France, as the host nation, played against USA and almost won the game, but there was one character, one super huge player named Stephen Curry who just by himself won the game, hit I guess 6 3-pointers in second half and helped USA to win another gold in Olympics. And here comes the brilliant response from McDonald's. They saw the opportunity to just jump on this fantastic performance from Stephen Curry and twist it in their as a McDonald's from France in their favor. So what they did, they just built super minimalistic Instagram post which said for obvious reasons we are considering removing this sauce from our menu. This sauce is curry sauce, which was in the picture. And immediately it blew up. Everybody was talking about, everybody was sharing it, and after like 10 days it was in Kimmel shows together with Curry as a player and commenting it, and then there was even additional ideas how to rebrand this sauce as it doesn't have the best reputation now in France. So small Instagram post could also bring you Cannes Lion and bring you a lot of earned media and just being brave, just being spontaneous, innovative and brave in some case is super cool and yeah.
And that's an example of the award of entry that had a very minimal budget, because I believe it didn't cost them much to create this Instagram post. But the reason why they got this award is because of this cultural relevance that Andris already mentioned. So I feel the connection here.
So if Porzingis would have its own sauce, what could it be?
No, sour cream.
No, something with Atlanta as he was traded there.
It could be kind of a unicorn burger, which is kind of big but still very kind of flexible.
Healthy.
big and healthy. Hopefully healthy. We need a healthy Porzingis, definitely.
No, for me it should be something Latvian, like sour cream with the dill, and that would be right for him.
Dill, that's a must.
But as Richard said, there is actually quite a lot of Olympic Games related entries this year in Cannes Lions. One of them is actually not just opening ceremony, as you mentioned already, but this year Olympic Games visual identity that got a silver lion in Industry Craft. And while we already discussed that this opening ceremony was focused on this societal issues that are known globally, then actual visual identity was based on Paris itself. They took inspiration in the streets of Paris, in colors, in shapes of Paris, by creating this visual identity that they communicate the city itself, which I also think it was a quite great idea.
Yeah, and two more projects. One is Grand Prix for Luxury Lions. I never knew there is a category for luxury lions, but there is. And the Grand Prix was won by LVMH. one of the most probably the richest lifestyle
Families in France.
families in France, but also luxury, house of brands globally. Actually, recently, as you know, our local Stenders, our cosmetics brand, is also now joined the family and is sitting at the same table with Louis Vuitton and Mayotte and Hennessy and so on. But what they did, so actually, if and they sponsor, they partner Olympic Games. But the Olympic Games is not allowing brands to be visible in the sport arenas.
At least if you're not official partner of
no, but
international
even
Olympic
if you
committee.
are official partner, you still can't, you still can't have your brand advertising or brand placed kind of in every, no?
No, if you are official partner of International Olympic Committee, not each country's committee, then you can be be there visible with your brand name.
Okay, we're gonna fact check
otherwise-
this
Yeah, we can
after
fact check.
the
But basically,
podcast,
how the entry was described. If the Olympic Games doesn't allow advertising in the competition areas, making sponsor brands invisible on broadcast, how does one hack the system to ensure they still get all the recognition afforded by such a global watched event? So what they did, they basically offered Olympic French team and Olympic Committee much more than just financial support. And at all the at the ceremonies, all the performing artists were dressed in Dior. So this is what. So they basically became part of the show. Every French athlete was outfitted in suits made by Berluti. All the medals were created by Chaumet, with a piece of the Eiffel Tower in the center, and each of these was then delivered in Louis Vuitton signature trays, a move that was more than product placement, yet ensured this LVMH spotted that they were spotted everywhere. So, I mean, first of all, smart. Second of all, I mean, it looked beautiful. Even in the opening ceremony, all these costumes, all these kind of designs, you could really see that this is not just, somebody who, like these state tenders, one with the lowest price to be able to dress the team, but it was actually, probably the best designers who took this chance and showed themselves. And the second campaign is a Hitch, which is a local kind of Uber in Paris, in France, and they won silver and bronze. But I mean, it's fantastic campaign where basically to help people of Paris and its suburbs manage this busy period, because we know before Olympic Games almost, everybody was recommended to leave Paris because it will be mad, it will be crowded. All the transport will be, in a deep
Busy, super.
Deep shit. So to help the people of Paris to manage, French, this ride-hailing app, Hitch, they created a campaign urging tourists to use its competitor Uber to free up Hitch cars for locals. So the slogan was "Choose Uber," and they really were promoting their main competitor. Which, of course, if you would be a client and you would see this idea that how do we promote ourselves in Olympic Games? Let's promote our competitor. Aigars, would you be happy to approve this idea?
I don't think so, and I'm not even on the client side, but even for me it sounds a bit risky.
And of course, it is kind of risky, but still, I mean, if you are from France and if you understand French language, so what they did, they had this English slogan, "Choose Uber," but then with the smaller fonts in French, they said, "But for locals, there will be Hitch will be available, and you will not have to wait for many." Hours to get your taxi or get your car delivered. So again, it was really kind of, talk value or word of mouth embedded in the campaign itself. And of course, it was quite unexpected to see Hitch logo under Choose Uber slogan.
But also, continue talking about this cultural relevance, I believe this campaign perfectly taps into this French culture, because I believe we all know about French people and English language, and about how French people are into their own stuff and not maybe so open sometimes to these global companies and all these kind of things. All love to French people who maybe listen to this podcast, of course. I just wanted to mention one more thing about this luxury brand category that you mentioned. I believe there is a lot of surprises that came from this category this year, and one of them is actually the brand that I can pronounce correctly and haven't trained before this podcast, but it's Loewe, or Loewe, yeah, I guess. Somebody gonna correct me in the comments. Yeah, probably. And they actually got an lion, not with the campaign, but with their social media content, precisely on TikTok. I've been personally following them during this year, and I noticed that, yes, it's not something that I would expect from a expensive luxury brand, because it's a bit on a quirky side, a bit on a weird side, but it's very aesthetically pleasing. And yes, they got an award, and it's cool. I will also add some links for the TikToks in our profile section for this podcast, so all of you can watch as well. But do we have more?
Round two.
Round two. We were wrapping up the Olympic topic. It was quite packed, but let's move to the round two. Anybody wants to start?
I think Aigars, go on. I think yeah.
Okay, I will continue. My first campaign that I mentioned, it was not very serious. You know, it was more on the funny side. Okay, it might be serious if you eat the whole jar of Vaseline, then the things get serious. But okay, the second campaign is actually on a serious note. It's made by French insurance AXA. They got 1 titanium Grand Prix and 1 silver. And basically the campaign is about domestic violence. It's actually asking a question why women who are victims of domestic violence, why they stay with their abuser. And in many cases, the answer is that she has nowhere to go. She has no place to hide, to go and don't be with that abuser. And there are a lot of reasons, of course, to this serious topic why the victim is not walking away. But AXA realized that they can change this one about the fact that she has nowhere to go. And in France, actually, the home insurance is a mandatory thing. It already includes emergency relocation in case of fire or flood. But what AXA did, they changed the insurance policy just by 3 words. And these 3 words are "and domestic violence", basically saying that we provide this emergency relocation in case of fire, flood, and domestic violence, which means that the woman who is a victim of domestic abuse can call AXA. The driver gonna collect her. He gonna bring her to the safe place, also providing physical, financial, and legal support. And these 3 words been included in more than 2 million of AXA, these insurance contracts. And actually, in the first month, they already helped more than 100 women. That I believe indicates how actually big this issue is and how insurance brand or any other brand can do something about it. I think it's impressive.
Something similar that we already tried to do with already mentioned with BATC give 5 charity marathon in Christmas 2 or 3 years ago. So that's universal problem, and in this case, this solution, I guess other insurers will gonna copy it, and this is gonna make the world a bit better, a bit safer, a bit more inclusive and more easier for women with some kind of problems in their family to get out of them. So yeah, I really like it, and it also shows that the innovation itself doesn't need to be super big or super huge something. It can be a bit of a small twist in our terms and conditions in this case. And pretty similar case comes from Helsinki, from Finland, and also a campaign that won multiple awards called parental leave mortgage. Also a case where a bank found that in Helsinki, in Finland, fathers are not taking parental leave as often as it could be healthy for the child. And what they did, they also implemented a new rule or new term in their terms and conditions page that you can pause your mortgage payments for 6 months for each of the parents to just spend more time with your child and make your family ties stronger and enjoy how your child is growing up. And also with small twist, with nothing huge, they found a way how to help a lot of people. And also I want to highlight one more campaign which came from South America, where they found that people are using old electronics like washing machines, like fridges and so on, but that results in super high electricity bills. And in the end, the homeowner or people, they don't have money to buy new appliances, and the company which sells appliances, they come up with a new way how you can pay for new washer or dishwasher or fridge. You just are paying the gap between your previous electricity bill and your new electricity bill, as showing that by switching to the new appliances you can really lower your utilities, and then this saving in first 3-4 months you can pay off your new appliances. And also a way how we can just improve or innovate in already existing formats like leasing payments, and also these three cases are really interesting and really inspiring. That innovations doesn't need be something huge, something big, something before unseen.
And also innovation is not always means technology, because all of these cases doesn't have any new technology, artificial intelligence, data, all this kind of stuff. It's a very human insight behind them.
Yeah, and I also really love these kind of product innovations where you add a feature or you add a twist and it becomes something that resonates. And in a way, and like in these last couple of minutes, we are not talking about, the craft or the content or design. Because, and of course, I think agencies still put a lot of effort to package them beautifully. But I think what really makes a difference is the idea in itself and the product itself.
And strategy.
And a bit similar, and strategy, and then similar case, or in a very different industry, is Chicago Hearing Society case, where they have received Grand Prix and Design Lions in Digital Craft Lions and Brand Experience and Activation Lions, so 3 Grand Prix awards, is already says something. So what they did, they basically took the most kind of universal thing in the world, which is those subtitles in movies, and turned them from very static subtitles and texts to more dynamic ones, where people who have these
hearing disabilities,
hearing disabilities, and who mostly watch movies just with their eyes, so they can actually see who is speaking at the time, and which word is spoken at the time, at this specific moment or second. So again, with a couple of very simple mechanisms, they turn these subtitles into titles that are really kind of reliant to these I think over 430 million people who have a problem globally, and now who can enjoy the movies or the videos in any type of videos.
It's super ironically that the field that always are trying to make the movie, the sound, all the special effects, crafting them and making them as best as possible, are not changing in this way. And there was 50 years.
I think since 1971, when these kind of subtitles were invented, not much has changed. So it's 55 years almost. And now finally somebody saw the opportunity to actually to have this dynamic timing used to sync up audio and speech, to use text animation, to give viewers a better understanding of how things are being said. The work created new inclusion standard, and of course was really embraced by major studios, and now has also won an Academy Award of Merit.
Yeah, and I guess AI helped a lot in this case, just to make them more easier to implement in different movies, and already maybe cover all the previous movies that has been made.
I just came up with the idea, but I don't know, maybe someone already doing that. If not, then we should patent this idea as fast as possible. But basically, maybe with the titles, we also can give them color that shows emotion. Because if you don't hear, but you just read the subtitles, you don't know, like, was the person angry or happy when saying it. So maybe we can use the color.
Shall we add emojis as well?
Actually, yes, we can add emojis.
I was expecting they have emojis, but I didn't see, at least in a case study.
Yeah, but again, of course, it was not a funny joke from my side, but the topic is still serious.
But it could be, I think, even kind of developed even more. But I think the whole idea that you just, add some elements and kind of make the experience much more available for many people that couldn't experience it is fantastic.
Yeah.
To continue in this innovation part, I wanted to highlight Penny's campaign from this year Cannes Festival, and what they did, they come up with a way how to show that their prices are permanent, and the way was they just printed the prices on the packaging, and the campaign is called Price Package. Penny is one of these counters in Germany, and as we can feel it, and we already had tried to come up with ideas how can deal with inflation and with all the things that comes with that, and the people are trying to find the cheapest, the more economical options, and they found an interesting way how to tackle that. Basically, they took their 5 most bought products: oatmeal, toast, salt, crisps, and mayonnaise, and rebranded their private label products with huge price tags on it, just showing that this is permanent, this is here to stay, you can count on them, and showing that they are hearing what people want and trying to answer that, and interestingly, they sold out in first 4 weeks. So all the products were sold out. They became almost as collectibles. Everybody wanted one of these products, and also the numbers in there, case study, are a bit. I don't know if it's serious, but they are saying that they increased their association with the price stability by 2,200%.
That's a
compared
nice
to
jump.
that. It's something unthinkable. But
probably they started with a really low perception, probably the worst one.
And also, as they say that they haven't changed the price for these 5 products for already 465 days, so more than a year, being there for their people. So also a small innovation, but super bold, super colorful, and without iconic symbols that brand already have implemented in them.
And of course, you can say also pretty, risky approach, because we can't control the prices. I mean, inflation, has its own life, and all prices and everything else. So again, if you print on packages, there is no way back. There is no way you can escape it.
But I believe that's why they did it, to really show this brand
commitment.
commitment
Or
to
otherwise,
the audience.
as one of the clients was mentioned, finally we don't need glasses to see price. So maybe it's
that's also true. That's also true. So also fantastic campaign, and I know that also supermarkets in Baltics have been kind of trying to find ways to prove who is more value for money, more price effective, or who has the best prices. So I think definitely a great example on how to kind of act on your promise.
It's a great example of how you can make this price campaign but still get a Cannes Lion for it.
Amazing. Like if you have a brief that just communicate that we are lowest price offer, I think you would not think about, Cannes Festival receiving the brief. But it again shows that any brief can become a fantastic concept and actually bring a couple of lions back home. Any other comments on this one, or let's move forward? The second one from my side is comes from L'Oreal, Paris. I'm a big fan of French work this year. And yeah, maybe and the work is the documentary film about the origins of the famous slogan "I'm worth it," and of course in Latvian "Es esmu tā vērta." We know it, and the whole world knows it since 1973. When the brand slogan was invented. But I think nobody of us really knew the story, who came up with the slogan and why it was so important in the context of 70s, where, again, feminine movement just have started, and it also advertising industry was dominated by men, and actually even in cosmetic ads, mostly the voiceovers and the voices were men's voices, because everybody believed that you can trust only the men voice, which now kind of feels okay. Good
Man
to
knows
know.
better what woman needs.
Yeah, exactly. So, and again, in this in the century, or in the time where it's dominated with technology and digital work and AI, I really kind of fell in love with this very simple, beautiful, authentic documentary film about the copywriter Ilan Specht, who worked in an agency in Madman area and created the slogan. And actually, which is, sad that the copywriter left us last year. So actually, but the good news, they managed to do the film shortly before her death, and she was one of the heroes of the documentary, really sharing her story. Also, her daughter was sharing the story, and many others, kind of about the times, about the context, and also the importance of this slogan. So, and what is fantastic that we all know L'Oreal, we kind of all knew the slogan, but it gave a second life, at least in my eyes, and also, of course, in eyes of many more people globally, that kind of not only made this huge splash worldwide, but also breathed the new life into the slogan, proving a masterclass on both brand marketing and, as category suggests, also film craft itself. Yeah, so that's my second favorite. Just a beautiful documentary.
And this brings us actually to another topic that was talked about a lot in this year, Cannes Lions. I already mentioned this artificial intelligence and creators, but actually the third topic that was talked about a lot is this female empowerment, both female in advertising, like employees working in our industry, and also how female are represented in advertisement. One of the campaigns I really like, I'm not even sure that they get an ally, and if not, they just got it from my side, but it's basically from Elf Beauty. They made this campaign called "So Many Dicks," and before we gonna have this sound that corrects the word dicks, it's not what you may assume. It's a name, a dick, a male name in USA, in an English-speaking world. And what they realized that in a company board of directors in the C-suite, there is a lot of men named Dick, and not so many women. And so basically they created campaign with the slogan, again talking about the slogans, "So many dicks of you, of everyone else," to show this diversity or lack of diversity in a company board of directors. And of course it's something that's true also for the advertising industry. I believe it getting better, at least from what we see in our agency. We have a whole bunch of great creative directors that are female, and also at least in a Baltic level. But the great.
I think they had also posters all over Cannes during the festival, because it was my Instagram feed was quite full of these kind of stories with those posters from my friends who were enjoying the live Cannes experience this year. Of course, especially from my female friends, women.
Yeah.
So it even it was kind of embedded in the festival experience itself.
Yeah, again, talking about cultural relevance, being in this festival makes sense for them, because as you already mentioned, the advertising industry and Dix.
And Dove, of course, it would be if we mention L'Oreal and we mention the woman empowerment, and of course also Dove is still championing the natural beauty and women's confidence. And I think they also received, was it the Grand Prix in Creative Effectiveness?
Creative strategy.
Creative strategy, yeah. So again, with the platform that Dove continues to develop, and also a year ago they promised the whole world that in the communication, in ads, they will not use AI. So again, which is, if you promise something like this, and probably everybody understands that it will cost you money, but then again, if there's a principle that you want to follow and you have promised as a brand, you just need to do it. So it's, if you praise natural beauty, of course you can't create AI generated photos for your advertising. So that's, again, fantastic to see that the brand has a very clear direction, the clear positioning, clear role, as we call it, and continues to follow it, and also follows the relevance today. Any other comments, or feels like we have spoken a lot?
I think wrapping up this part of the podcast, the conclusion, if you're making a little conclusions here, can be that the purpose is advertising and marketing isn't dead. As sometimes we can see these articles that the caps lock say that the brand purpose is dead. Watching these entries and our conversation, I would say it's not that. It's as active as it's probably never been, and I think that's a great take as well.
I mean, especially if you watch it, if you look at Grand Prix awards, I think if you go to bronze and silvers, you would see many more work which is just fantastic and creative and entertaining and doesn't have a purpose embedded in. But I think if you want, 12 or 20 jury members from all over the world with different backgrounds to agree on one thing, then probably they would still look for bigger meaning or bigger kind of, cause for the creativity. And this is where this purpose is really part of it. Yeah, for me, I think these product improvements that if you add on what you already have with something, a new feature that really resonates, it doesn't have to always start with a campaign idea. It can often start with product idea, and then on top, if you package it beautifully, that it can become a fantastic, great thing. And also, there's just crossing borders and still coming back to Paris Olympic Games. I mean, in outdoor category, fantastic. I mean, why should you just limit yourself with a outdoor stand or billboard or digital outdoor? Why don't you use a city as a platform? And of course, if you have those billions or millions watching, so I think, once again, congrats to Paris, really using this very expensive opportunity to showcase the city and talk about something very meaningful.
Yeah, and congrats to all the winners. It's easy to comment when sitting here in this podcast studio, and it's not as easy to get this award. So congratulations to all. And I believe, as Andris mentioned in the beginning, we are back from our spring break, and we can promise you more podcasts episode in the weeks to come. I actually recorded my first one 1 week ago, but we're not going to publish that one after this one. But that's going to be something that's going to be interesting. I can promise you that on my side. And so I believe we're going to
industry that is still, I think, a kind of taboo industry to discuss it loudly. So Aigars, congrats on this very bold step forward.
Yeah.
So I'm also curious to hear the conversation. And so as I mentioned, we also are prepping up the Baltic Brand Forum in September in Vilnius. It will be the first time that we kind of host the forum in Vilnius city in Kablis. Check out all the latest news in balticbrands.eu platform or in our Instagram or whatever social media platforms. Anything else?
I just gonna say that we're gonna put all the links to the campaigns that we mentioned in the comments, so you can watch them, watch the case studies, research, explore yourself, and I think that's it.
And let us know, what was your favorite Cannes campaign from this year's awarded work? Would be happy to see your favorites as well.
Okay, thank you, Andris, thank you, Rihards, and see you soon.
See you.
Bye.
Ciao, ciao.